What is up, ladies and gentlemen? So today, we're going to have a helpful video on tips and tricks.
The battle is about to begin.
And I feel like doing this because I've been playing healer a lot, and I've been running into people that have really been not understanding what a support champion is. So let's start. I'm picking Genos here to start. A support champion is called a support champion because they're not a healer. Let's be clear on that. Otherwise, they'd be called healers. They're called support. So let's look. First off, your loadout matters more than your legendary card for being an effective healer as a support. Here's an example, and that's why I chose Genos. All of these cards can be used on the same build and provide good healing. Every support champion in the game, with the exception of Maldamba, which I'll get to in a little bit, has 3 categories of legendary cards. They have healing cards, damage cards, and self buffs. Now, Genos has 1 self buff, 2 damage, and 1 healing. Celestial Touch heals, Binary Star damage, Luminary and Pallid Coliseum is self buff. Here's why I mean that. Your healing card actively boosts the healing that you do. Your 2 damage cards, in this case, boost the damage that you deal or that your team deals. They allow you to support your team's damage. While Binary Star is a self-buff. That buffs you. And it's important to realize that every champion has this, which we'll cover in a bit. Your build is the next important thing to realize here. All of these builds, as you can tell, run similar cards. Every build has that card in it there at level 3, which is the 5, which is the 3, which is the 5. Those card is the increased range of the card. Another card that's in every loadout in some iteration is that card. The 5, the 2, the 1, the 1. That's Void Grip. Killing someone dying within a short time of Void Grip resets cooldowns. Now also note that not all of these builds are for the same cards. For example, this build is specifically for Celestial Touch. It can be used with Luminary, but it's most effective on Celestial Touch. Void Grip Reset is most effective with Power Coliseum. Rejuvenate is most effective with Luminary, and Life Siphon is most effective with Binary Star. I have a build for every legendary card. Binary Star gives me 25% life rip, and I deal a decent amount of damage. I get a nice amount back. I get a quarter of every shot that I deal, plus I can get kill to heal. I have healing built in with the reduced cooldown, the increased duration, the increased range, so that's where that pays off. Luminary allows me to heal myself, and I boost the range of it. The cooldown's not great, but I rely more on Void Grip, someone killing them, and being able to reset healing builds again. Power Coliseum and the Void Grip reset allows for the best healing. I Void Grip a target, a flank kills them, I can then heal somebody. It works better that way. And on the Celestial Touch build that I primarily run, which is my Use Me, max range, reduce cooldown, increase duration, and then the other 2 is fillers that allow me to help reset in between. Now, now we're going to look at an example here. Right. This is something I want to explain to people very clearly. Let's start with taking damage. This is the optimal time to heal someone.
First blood. Keep up the good work.
Now, what did I do right there? My target was at half health. So what I do is I pop a heal on them and then start shooting the target over here. Why? Your job as a healer is not to sit there and keep your tank, this fucker over here, from dying all the time. Your job is to support him in killing the person shooting him. Now, here's what I did. Pop a heal, damage. We kill the target, pop a heal. Let me show you what not to do. Pop a heal right off the bat, let him handle the target, wait for the cooldown, pop a heal on him frantically, and he dies. I didn't do anything to help the tank do damage. As a support, in between your cooldowns, it is important to actually do damage. Champions like Genos and Saras are better at this because their cooldowns are relatively short. So you can get a good burst of damage, followed by a good burst of healing, followed by a good burst of damage. Lower cooldown champions are better at this. Higher cooldown champions, that being your Grovers, your Pips, things of that characters of that nature, Grok, they need to focus more on extended periods of damage than anything else. Now, that's a new one. Now to show you the next thing. Ooh, that's kind of cool. So I don't do GG when, oh, there we go. Now, another thing to do. Alright, so we heal. We shoot. Then what do? Nothing. Well, he's already being healed. We'll just wait for the heal to wear off. He's shooting. Oh. He's dead. That's another thing not to do. Just because you put a heal and then you switch to damage doesn't mean that you stop healing for the duration, if you're a duration healer of that nature. Another thing. Let's stop it here. Waiting a second is the best bet. In a situation like that, your best bet would be to heal them, would be to help them damage the target. Help the person that you're trying to heal damage the target before healing them. Why? Cauterize. Allow me to explain. Now I can heal him safely, not having to worry about cauterize. As opposed to a normal healer that I see will instantly do that. Also, next example. Need healing. That is what not to do. Why? He's not gonna live. If the health of a character is already low, like it was on Fernando, don't put the heal. If you're a duration healer, if you know you can't heal them up relatively quickly, don't do it. For example, Genos is not a good champion for this. However, let's go to Pip. Again, now looking at Pip, Pip has the same thing. He has 2 self buffs in Combat Mech and Mischief, a damage, and a heal. Now, where I talked about loadout, where you can run relatively similar loadouts and still be effective, this is an example of specializing your champion is much more effective. Let's look. Catalyst Pip is a much more specialized. There's only 2 cards in there for healing, and both of them are minor filler cards. The 2 big power cards of the loadout are your damage cards. I don't run Mischief, I think the other cards are better. Combat Medic is interesting, because if you look at how I have the build, this is truly a supporting thing. Increase radius to hit more people and heals. I'm not healing people as often, but I'm allowing the team to do more. I'm providing a chunk heal that boosts my rate of fire, and that provides the team with good mobility for them to move around in and out of trouble. Whereas Mega Potion, what we need healing, notice I called this build Need Healing when, because a lot of people spam Need Healing with me on Pip. I have a game just today that I did 95k healing in less than 8 minutes because I knew how to do my heals on this build. I have cooldown reduction hitting multiple targets, which lets me get up to 2 potions in quick succession, and I have an increased radius so I can maximize the number of people that I hit. I have Shrewd Move, so I can take cooldowns off by the people that I heal and kills that I get, and I have Gift Giver so that I can heal myself for a decent amount of healing. Specifically on Mega Potion, healing 20% is a decent amount. You have to realize 20% of 2400, I'm healing myself for almost 500 health every potion. That's a decent amount. And if I hit multiple people, that's more healing. The way it works out too is this, by the way. If I chuck the healing potion into 4 allies, and I reset the cooldown and I do it again, I get over 1200 healing. So this build allows me to heal myself effectively as well. Here's the thing I want to mention. On Pip. Now I can burst him up and help finish the job. And then come back and heal him again. Now, Let's say the enemy team has cauterize. I need to toss a heal, then shoot,
Okay, who wants an autograph?
then heal.
Killing spree.
It's important to note as a healer that
I
your
can't
job,
right now.
once again, is not to keep your tank here alive. It's to keep him, is not to keep him fully stocked. It's to keep him alive. This is another thing that I see a lot. And this is another example. I had this game with Furia yesterday.
Did you see that?
Don't spam need healing here!
Here's the catalyst.
He is not the priority to get healed.
Bullseye.
He is. Especially on Pip, where I burst him down with healing. He's a higher priority because he's lower. The more healing you do in a burst, the more you want to prioritize a lower health target. Just because you're half health doesn't mean that you need to spam need healing. And that's important to note. Another thing is, just because you're a support and you're running a damage card, doesn't mean you need to just sit there and do damage. Catalyst Pip is incredibly effective. Right. And now I'm reloading. Oh, and the tank died. Because I didn't heal. Here's how Catalyst Pip should play. Oh, he died.
7 in a row.
Reload. Reload.
I feel
Heal.
stronger. Healer.
Reload. Pop. Pop. Pop.
That's 9 in a row.
Notice how I'm intermittently healing in between. Another example is this. I'm not wasting my Catalyst Pip at all. Now I am.
Make it rain.
Immortal.
That's why. Right there. Notice what I did. I healed him early, and I didn't use my primary damage ability, which in the Catalyst Pip, to kill her until later on. Knowing how to time cooldowns is a very effective strategy. And this is something I teach people with Grok. Many people say Grok is a bad healer. Now again, just to show you on Grok, what is a tips and tricks? Damage, Maelstrom, boost your damage output. Wraith, self-buff, boost your ability to sustain yourself. Totematic Ward and Spirit's Domain, healing builds. Totem Ward. Now, cooldowns are everything. Well, I'll show you something right here. Alright, so we're gonna put the damage on. So we drop the totem right here. Do damage. Reduce the cooldown.
Gracias for the healing.
Right, the totem is down. The totem is down. He'll live. He'll live. He'll live. Totem up. Totem up. Totem up. Kill. Help kill. Work on reset cooldown.
Killing spree.
Kill target. Let's get the Chronos up. I'll let him die just as an example. So now what do we do? Okay, drop totem. Boom, boom. He's being out healed. Oh, I didn't mean to step backwards like that. Okay, cooldown, back to damage. She's dead. Okay, now what are we doing right here? Notice how the cooldown on one ability is longer. Ghost Walk brings up the cooldown on the other ability to bring it back.
Rampage.
Damage up, totem went down. Ghost Walk, totem back up. Notice how Grok plays. Grok's cooldowns at a certain point get to, this is why I only run Gale on 3 as opposed to I seeing some people run Gale at 5. At Chronos 3, literally my cooldown reduction is at the point where there's only a 3-second difference as long as totem goes up and then the Ghost Walk goes up. Okay, now wait for it. There goes the totem. There goes the Ghost Walk. That lowers enough for me to totem. Waiting now. Ghost Walk. Heal in between. Totem in between, spray and pray. That's just an example of what you need to realize, is that cooldown management is more important, with constantly switching between certain abilities that help reset each other. Now, all of your support champions right here, I want you to note that champions play very differently. Ying is much more aggressive as a damage champion than as a healing champion is. Pip is another champion who's more aggressive as a damage than as a healer. As a healer, you have to move with your team to keep them healed. As a damage, you have to be proactive in going after targets. On Ying, you can sit back a little bit more. Now, as a damage, you have to be aggressive, constantly pushing your clones forward to use them for damage, or on reflecting lenses in order to hit your shots. As a healer, you can kind of sit back and let your clones do more of the work. On Seris, you're also laid back. You can sit back and snipe heal with your different abilities, and spray and pray with an Agony Seris, and use the stun to your advantage to capitalize. Maldamba plays a very advanced role. He has to be constantly healing or constantly doing damage to be effective at either. And if you want to do both, good luck to you, you're a better man than I am. Although I am working on healing damage at the same time. On Genos, you are another laid-back healer, but an aggressive damage champion, having to constantly push forward with your Void Grip, or on Binary Star, shooting people and hitting your shots. Having the slower rate of fire you do, missed shots are a lot more costly. Whereas as a healer, being able to heal through walls, you can kind of sit back, relax a little bit, bruh, and just heal. A Grover has a very laid-back defensive approach, sit back and snipe. Offensively, you have to be incredibly aggressive, pushing up, on-point healing. Grok plays aggressively in all aspects of play, aggressively pushing forward to maximum range for damage, or optimal range for damage, I meant to say. Wall, as a healer, being able to constantly rotate your cooldowns and have enough lateral mobility to not get murdered all the time. And Furia just requires your teammates not to fuck it up. And here's what I mean by that. This is the best healing card in the game. It's possible heal for 6,000 a second. You know what your fucking problem is? This shit. Fernando, there's a beam to your left. There's gonna be a beam to your left. Step to your left. Oh. Oh, I'm only healing you for 1,000. Okay, Fernando, stay where you are. Stay where you are, alright? I'm throwing a beam at you. Oh, move to the left. That's why Furia is not fun to play as a healer. Because you can try to heal your team, but it doesn't fucking matter. They're still going to piss you off. Ha! That was kind of fun. Sorry. Sorry, that was me, like, just trying to see how far away I could snipe with her. Ah! Oh, it didn't. It stopped. Dead. That's the other problem with Furia. Range. Now, I hope this has been informative, about tips and tricks on healers. This is more of a video about me bitching about games that I've had today, so I hope everybody understands that this is me more complaining about people being stupid than it is anything else. Remember, as a healer, you don't have to be on a healing legendary card to be a good support. You just need to realize, like, see, everybody's gonna say I'm a bit of a hypocrite because I've been saying, because in-game you'll hear me say, we don't have a healer when someone picks a certain legendary card. Look at my healers. 25, 31, 30, 30, 31, 24, 30, 24. I'm an experienced support, and I want you to know, you don't have to be a healer to do good healing. Sorry about that. Fuck! Sorry. Looking at Ying, you'll notice on my builds, I run very similar cards. There's almost always similar cards in most of the general healing and even some of the damage type build. It's just important to know what cards are the most effective in certain situations. So an example being, as Furia, if you want to run Solar Blessing, you need to have something built around this category right here. No, actually you don't. All you need is Solar Flare and Wings of Wrath, and the Stoke the Fire card on Wings of Wrath if you're actually looking to boost that card. If you're looking to run something for Cherish, one would imagine, okay, so I want things out of this category. Yes and no. This is a card you should also bring as well. That way there that the healing you put out does not decrease your damage potential at all. Things like that to note as a support that you also need to worry about yourself. This is my big problem as Furia as well, most notably. When I play a support champion and the other team comes and focuses me and comes and kills me, and my team is idiots and I need sustain power, that is a very important thing to note. So, I hope this has been helpful and educational. If not, I apologize. And if you're going to leave nasty comments about, oh, I don't know how to play healer, once again, I don't give a shit. I'm one of those people that, because a lot of people have been crapping on me and saying I'm a bad player. Now, I admit I am a bad player. I'm the top 1% of the world, and I am slacking. I'm not playing like it, but that's also because I'm having to carry a lot of roles. Now, I'm incredibly versatile, as you can see, in that I can play almost every champion except Strix Canessa, because we don't talk about them. But, nonetheless, I am capable of playing most of the champions in this game respectably well. And a few champions elite. I will have a video on flanks, by the way, on tips and tricks on flanks. It's not tips and tricks on flanks, it'll be actually ranking flanks on what I think the strongest flanks in the games are. And spoiler alert, my top flank Moji is not #1 on the list. So hopefully that'll keep everybody excited. Anyways, thank you all for watching. And I don't know why I pushed that button. I apologize. I meant to push close